Richfield Springs Central School. Our interviewee is Mr. David Bennett. His branch of service was the United States Marine Corps. He entered the service on March 15, 1965 and was discharged on March 12, 1969. Today's date is June 5, 2009 and the time is about 9:15. The interviewers are Elena Kleichman and Becca Havens. What is your full name?
David Charles Bennett.
When were you born?
March 13th, 1948.
And where were you born?
I was born in Norwood, Massachusetts.
What was your pre-war education?
I left high school in my junior year.
What was your pre-war occupation?
I was a student.
What made you decide to enter the service?
Boredom with school.
What do you remember most about entering?
Boot camp. Yes. Yellow footprints that you had to stand on with a drill instructor. Hollering things in my ear I couldn't even understand. Very confusing.
Now, you were in the Marine Corps. Why did you choose that branch?
I had always wanted to be in the Marine Corps ever since I was 7 or 8 years old. To me, it was the best military out of all of them, and I wanted to be in the best.
Were you satisfied with that choice?
Oh yes, to this day.
Where was your basic training located?
Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego, California.
How was this experience for you?
It was terrifying at times, but after it was all over, I had a new sense of self-pride that I had actually accomplished something and stuck to it, and gave me a new identity and a new feeling.
What do you remember about basic training in life before the war? What do you remember about basic training in life before the war?
Mostly the physical training, the obstacle courses and stuff like that, and close order drill.
Was your training the same or similar to what you actually did?
What I thought it would be?
Well, what you actually did in the service, your actual duties.
The training I got, well, I went to an aviation school, but boot camp doesn't prepare you that, but infantry training regiment, every Marine gets that because number one, you're a rifleman, no matter what your job is, whether you are in the air wing, you drive a truck, you cook, whatever. The first thing you learn is how to be an infantryman.
You wrote down that your duties included helicopter mechanics, crew chief, and rifleman. Which was the worst job?
I didn't find any of them to be the worst. I used to enjoy flying. Now I'm scared of heights. And I knew as a Marine I would always be a rifleman no matter what happened. If the helicopter got shot down, I was automatically a rifleman. So.
What was it like in the helicopter?
Noisy. It vibrated a lot, but I felt comfortable with that because you knew that the aircraft, number one, was still flying, and I had confidence in the pilots. But the helicopter vibrated a lot depending on what maneuvers you had to make in order to get into certain places or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty noisy, even with the helmet on. But it's, like I say, if I fly a commercial airliner now, I have to sit in the back to feel it. Otherwise, if it's smooth and everything, it bothers me. I keep looking out the windows.
What battles did you take part in?
Vietnam was a battle. I flew 343 combat missions, and it depended on where you went. Some days you got shot at, and some days you go sometimes weeks on end and never take you'd take fire everywhere you went, so each time I landed could have been a battle. Each time I took off could have been a battle, but it wasn't one set. The one set battle for us in helicopters was Vietnam itself.
What was it like on foreign land?
It was different. The country had a different smell. It was humid all the time. Monsoon season, it rained every day. Low clouds. Where I was at up in E-4, we didn't get to interact with the people. The only time I interacted with the people is if we landed in a ville, or we had workers that came on base to do certain chores like wash clothes, build bunkers and things like that. And that was the closest I got to them. But otherwise, I didn't spend much time on the ground anyway. If I did, I was on base, either working on the helicopter or they'd give us a little time off or stuff like that. But I didn't get to interact with the people when I was there in the Marines.
What kind of equipment did you use while in battle?
Well, the basic weapon on the helicopter was an M60 machine gun. The stuff we used to fix it were just basic hand tools. When I had to go out on ambush patrols or whatever, I carried an M14 rifle, and as a crewman, I also carried a 38 pistol. But my basic weapon for every Marine is a rifle, but on the helicopters we carried two M60 machine guns, one for myself and one for the gunner.
Was the equipment you used better than that of the enemy?
Well, in some cases, well, they didn't have helicopters down where I was at. They didn't bring helicopters in, so I don't know. The weapons they used were as good as ours. In some cases, they were better. But I thought the equipment we were supplied with was top notch. I mean, air crews wore body armor, which was like a breastplate that covered down to your stomach and up to your neck. And there were two sides to it, on a back and a front. And you could get hit in that with bullets, and the bullets wouldn't penetrate. The only thing was, it was pretty heavy. It was about that thick, made of fiberglass and stuff. But that was pretty good stuff to have.
Were you wounded in any of the missions?
No, I wasn't. Thank God.
Were there a lot of people sent on these missions?
Pardon?
Were there a lot of people sent on these missions?
Usually we flew in two plane sections. We had the lead helicopter, which would do most of the work or almost all of the work, and the other helicopter that flew with you was there in case you got shot down, or the zone that you were going into. If you were going in for medevacs, it had more medevacs than you could carry. The other helicopter coming behind you. If we had to resupply a place where there was a battle going on, or we had to take in a lot of stuff to resupply, then the other helicopter would be with you. But normally that's the way we flew. It was two plane sections, or four plane, and then it was two sections to where one section would do one mission and the other section would peel off and do a different mission. But mostly that was the way we flew.
You wrote that when you were first under fire, you were scared when it was over. Did these firings happen, or did these feelings happen every time, or did you eventually get used to it?
I was scared every time I went up, but there were times when you knew exactly where you were going. If the pilot told you, like at nighttime, The only time we went out at night is if it was an emergency medevac. And we knew then that wherever we were going, they had already taken fire. So you were prepared for that. We flew with our armor on all the time, unless we were over the ocean, and you take it off and you put a Mae West on. But yeah, I was scared, but at the age I was, I didn't really let it do anything to me. I used to do a lot of dumb things, like sit in the door of the helicopter and the pilot would turn it sideways and I'd just be looking at the ground with no safety restraint or anything on. But I was 20 years old, 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Nothing bothered me.
Had you gone in the service expecting this?
When I went in 1965, Americans were still in an advisory role, and then about halfway through boot camp was when the Marines were landed in Da Nang, and right then we knew that most of us would be there, would end up there. Yeah. So, but when I joined, when my mother and father signed the papers for me to join, it was just advisory personnel. I think if there had been a war then, I don't think my mother would have signed the papers. I don't think she'd give me permission to go.
Did you receive any medals or honors?
17 air medals, 20 missions of medal, combat air crew wings, nothing really out of the ordinary, no bronze stars, whatever, never wounded, so.
How did you keep in touch with those at home while in the
By
service?
letters. By letters, yeah. I wrote as much as I could, but at that time I wasn't really a letter writer, and my mother knew that. I was more concerned about my mother than anybody, you know. Because if something did happen, they'd send an officer to where she lived to inform her that something happened, she'd pass out or had a heart attack by the time the guy got to the door. I didn't want that.
What was the food like?
Well, most of the time, since I was in the air wing, we had a mess hall and all that, and the food was all right. It wasn't bad. Other than that, we ate sea rations out of cans. Sometimes the sea rations were better than the stuff in the mess hall, so I always kept a case of sea rations in my helicopter, just in case we were out in the boonies or something like that. You could always grab something to eat while you're flying.
Was it hard to sleep at night?
Well, some nights, yeah. All the noise, you know, because it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we were close to the flight line, so you could hear helicopters taking off at night and this and that. But after you've been on an operation for about 72 hours straight, you don't have any trouble sleeping. And during that time, you could grab sleep where you could grab it. I used to be able to stand at an angle when my gunner was fueling the helicopter and fold my arms, lean, and go to sleep for as long as it took him to fuel the helicopter. That was about it.
What was your most memorable experience and why?
Getting shot at the first time. Scared the hell out of me. They shot at us with a .50 caliber machine gun, and the tracers looked like beer cans that were on fire. And I thought, wow, that's really neat. Until a couple of them hit the helicopter, and then I realized, I think they're shooting at us. So, but yeah, that scared the hell out of me.
What person do you remember the best from service and why?
The captain, I don't remember his name, but we used to call him Rootin' Tootin' Hoot. This guy strapped the helicopter on him when he got in it. So whenever I flew with him, I knew no matter what maneuver he did, no scared me, just the way they flew. But this guy could outfly anybody I'd ever seen, and I had experience flying before I got to Vietnam. I got a lot of flight time when I was in the States. But yeah, Captain.
Was everyday life the same?
No, not really. When we were doing missions, every mission was different. I mean, you do a resupply or whatever, that part about it's the same, but if you're doing it right on the ground, that's one thing. But if you have to go up on a mountaintop and put one landing gear tire on a rock and the other one's hanging out in the breeze, and you kick all your stuff, all the sea rations and ammo and everything out the door, and then fall off the mountain, that's pretty hairy. But that was the only way we could pick up enough speed to fly.
How did you feel about the war during your time of service?
I thought we were justified, but I think everybody that's been in combat finally realizes you're there for the guy next to you, you know. I was there because the Marines on the ground needed the support that I could give them. Medevacs, resupply, bring in water, ammo, whatever. And that's why I was there. That was my duty. That's what I was trained to do. What the politicians and the political aspect of it, I had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all.
Was there anything unusual about any of your duties?
Yeah. One mission I did, the Marine Corps birthday is November 10th. On November 10th, the mission we had that day was to take birthday cakes to the grunts out in the hills. And the pilots and I laughed about it, because I told the pilot, I said, this should be a hell of a deal. You know, something happened and we get screwed up and they ride home to our mothers. Your son was killed while delivering birthday cakes, you know, like a bakery truck or something. So, but yeah, that was a very unusual mission.
What were your opinions about the war after you left?
Well, when they pulled out everybody, I wasn't in favor of it. I wasn't in favor of turning tail and running, especially when the North Vietnamese started coming down through I-Corps, where I flew. And then I thought about all the Marines that I had hauled out of there, dead and wounded. And then all of a sudden, all that ground was given up. I didn't go along with the decision. I really didn't. To this day, I don't go along with the decision.
What did you do when you returned home?
Slept a lot. I missed a lot of sleep. When I returned home, I only had 7 days left on my enlistment, so I was due to get out. I don't know. When I got out, I wasn't even legal to drink a beer. I got out a day before my 21st birthday. And my mother asked me, do you want to celebrate? I said, sure. So she had to go buy me a 6-pack of beer.
Did you learn anything from your time in the service that made an impact on the way you lived your life after returning from the war?
Pride and never give up. And once you commit to something, you don't back away from it. And there is no thing as doing the job halfway. You do the whole thing. You do the job the way it's supposed to be done. I see a lot of people in the years that I've worked out civilian life, and one guy would be over there busting his ass, and another one would be sitting on his ass. Got busts his ass, he gets a raise. The other guy gets a raise too, and he don't do nothing. When I was overseas in the military, in the Marines in Vietnam, somebody did a half-assed job, you kicked him in the ass, because doing a half-assed job, that guy could get a lot of people killed. So they only get away with it once, but out in civilian life, if I do that, I lose my job. But I don't know, sometimes that's hurt me in a way, because I look at people in a cynical manner, but not everybody has had the training I've had or the commitment I've had, so I tend to let it slide a little bit, not a whole bunch, not a whole bunch.
Was there anything you wish that you could have done differently?
Stayed in the Marines. Yeah. I look back at it now, and when it was time to re-enlist, they made some good offers, but hindsight's 20/20, you know. I joined at 17, so I didn't have a prom, I didn't have, part of my I don't know, adolescent years was spent in the Marines, and so when I got out, I wanted to kick my heels up and, you know, have a good time for a while. But looking back on it, no, I should. If I had it to do over again, I'd have stayed in.
Did you become involved in any veteran organizations?
Oh yeah, I belong to the American Legion, VFW, Marine Corps League, and I also belong to Vietnam Helicopter Pilots and Air Crew Association. So I've gotten in with both feet, I guess.
Have you kept in touch with anyone you met while in service?
Through the Marine Corps Helicopter Pilots and Air Crew Association, I've gone to one reunion, and I've met a lot of people that I was with in country, and a lot of people I went to school with, but I don't really keep in touch with them all.
How did the military change your life?
Took me from a little snot-nosed kid to a man. Taught me responsibility, taught me to be part of something bigger than me. It's like when you first get to boot camp, you're a mob, you know. You don't know how to march, you don't know how to do anything. But by the time you're done, you're like one entity. You're given a command, and it's impressive because the whole unit responds to that command. I don't know, it's hard to describe, it really is, but it gives you a sense of pride and a sense of belonging.
Does the time you spent in the military often come up in your thoughts?
Oh yes, yeah, quite a bit. Sometimes when I don't want it to, in the middle of the night or whatever, but yeah, I still, you know, I still take pride in the fact that I was in the Marines, and I don't care if anybody knows it, that doesn't matter to me, but yeah, I still take pride.
When do you think about it the most?
I don't know, when things start bothering me, or I feel like I want to give up, or something like that. I don't know, I guess it's like when things start to overwhelm me, I think back, and that helps. It helps. It's not the cure, but it does help. You know, stick to it and keep going, don't quit. If you lay down, you're dead. Just keep on going. That's about it.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, this was taken at Camp Pendleton after boot camp. All Marines go through what's called an Infantry Training Regiment, ITR. I was 17 when that was taken. That's me there. This is the type helicopter I flew in, a UH-34D. It was a piston engine helicopter with the engine mounted backwards at an angle. So when you open these two doors here, all of the components that you changed and everything were right in the back. And this is a piece of boilerplate or armor for the oil cooler. This is me at age 20 with body armor on. And this is the seat I sat in. I sat with my back towards the front of the helicopter, and the pilot sat above me, so I would have been right in there. These are different squadrons that I belong to, and in Vietnam, my parent outfit was the 1st Marine Air Wing. I flew with HMM 363, which means Helicopter Marine Medium 363. They called us the Lucky Red Lions. I don't know why. Sometimes we weren't too lucky. After the squadron broke up, I ended up in HMS 36, which stands for Headquarters and Maintenance Squadron, 36. They did a lot of the heavy maintenance on the helicopters. In other words, helicopter got shot up where a squadron couldn't take care of it. The HMS took care of it. I was aboard this helicopter carrier for 30 days. It's an old converted Korean War era carrier. Now they have the new type of helicopter carriers. These are the ribbons or awards I had: National Defense, Vietnamese Service. I'm supposed to have a star in there, but I didn't put it in. Vietnamese Campaign, Good Conduct Ribbon. I'm not sure why they gave me that, but, and this is the Air Medal. Now, in this ribbon, I'm supposed to have the numeral 17 for 17 awards at 20 missions each. And these are my combat wings. You had to have 20 missions, and 3 stars on the top stand for 3 stripes. This is something I wore on my flight suit to identify me.